On April 28, 1905, the Breathitt County News of Jackson, Kentucky, reported about a witness who had a unique perspective to the shooting without seeing the actual crime being committed. All he knew at the time was that bullets were being rained down upon the street, and could not tell from whence they came or who they were being aimed at, only that he needed to find shelter fast. All aboard the Kentucky-Tennessee Living Time Machine. Please fasten your seatbelts and keep your arms and legs inside of the vehicle at all times. But to get going, we need your help. We still need to fire up that time machine to transport us. Please help us by clicking on the like, subscribe, and bell notification buttons down below. Not only does this fire up the time machine, but it convinces the YouTube algorithm that we need a bigger time machine to reach more people who love history as much as you do. Now, back to our story. Peter's location. Noah J. Peters was called to the stand and sworn in. The first bit of testimony that he gives to the court has to do with his location and what he saw at that point. Quote, on Friday morning, the first witness was Noah J. Peters. He said that he was standing about 10 to 12 feet from the front door of the courthouse when the firing began, and immediately stepped into the corridor of the courthouse to get out of range of the shots, as he could not tell from just what point that they were being fired. Saw the people at Cardwell Corner scatter, and believed that someone was being shot at, unquote. In a moment of sheer terror, not knowing if he was the target or not, he bolted for the courthouse door. All he was able to see in that moment was people scattering and hearing bullets flying. His main objective at that moment was to get to safety fast. This is a very normal reaction in moments of extreme danger. Our flight or fight instincts kick in. It is a moment of react first, think later. We are pretty sure that when he went inside of the courthouse, he went straight to the safest place he could find, as quickly as he could find it, to get away from the shooting. What Peter saw inside of the courthouse. It took a minute or two for the bullets to stop being shot from the guns. It was at that point that the target, Town Marshal James Cockrill, lay on the ground in the middle of the street. After calming down, Peters then reports what he saw in his surroundings from his position. Quote, saw no one when he first entered the courthouse door, but after a minute after the firing ceased, he saw Jett come down the rear steps and cross the street towards the Hargis store, unquote. At first, Peters was unaware of what he had just witnessed. Because he was not aware of where the bullets had come from, the possibility of Jett being one of the shooters did not immediately come to his mind. This could have been because he was still upset by the events going on around him and had not fully recovered his mental state yet. However, Peters did have the presence of mind to follow Jett's movements to the Hargis store. Jett goes to the Hargis store. Peters places possible shooters at the location of the Hargis upper room. Peters might not have been aware of the importance of what he witnessed. Or there is another possibility that he had not placed everything together yet. However, he is not the first witness to state that there were other men with guns in this location. His statement about these men does back up the other witness statements concerning the Hargis store upper window. Quote, witness looked in the direction of the store and saw Jim Hargis and Ed Callahan at the window with guns. Said he saw King Ford standing just behind them, but could not tell whether Ford had a gun, unquote. Something very interesting here. Even if the men were standing in the window with guns, did they shoot at Cockrill, or did they come running with their guns in case they were needed for other reasons? Was the window open or closed? If the window was open, it could make sense that these men could have possibly also been shooting at Cockrill. However, if the window was closed and unbroken, then the men were innocent of this. We do find it interesting that neither the prosecution nor the defense asks any witnesses this very question. Could this be because the event of the shooting took place on July 20th, 1902? So, the window could have been opened to let heat out of the building? And because this answer was so plausible that it might have been the reason why this question was never asked? Scene back at the courthouse. Jett returns once again to the courthouse. We do not know why Hargis told Jett to guard the back stairway to the upper floor. Was it because this was the only stairway that granted access to the room that the shooters used? Was this so that no one would go up there to tamper with evidence for the investigation? Or was it to make sure that no one would be recognized coming out of that room? While we do not have answers as to the request, we can speculate that there had to be a reason behind it. Quote, said he heard Hargis say something to Jett, and the latter recrossed to the courthouse after going as far as the store door. Hargis told Jett to go back and guard the courthouse door, and that Jett replied that the door did not need guarding. Also saw Breathitt and Spicer near the door when Jett returned. Saw Breathitt and Elbert Hargis near the store just before the shooting, and saw Hargis and Callahan talking to them, unquote. So, why wouldn't the courthouse need to be guarded in Jett's opinion? Was it because all of the shooters had been vacated from the room by this point? Jett was seen coming down the stairs by several witnesses. If he was one of the assassins, then why didn't he make his exit from the room more secret? It seems that he felt that his family connections would protect him and that he could basically get away with anything. We are speculating about this as there was not given any reasons why Jett gave this reply. While this would end the testimony that Noah Peters would give in this trial, all of the testimonies that he would give combined would lead him to fear for his life. Peters goes on the run. At first, when we came across these articles, we were a bit surprised. The last of the Hargis trials would take place around October 1905. After the final verdicts were handed down, did Peters feel that it would be more prudent to disappear? According to the article found in the Breathitt County News, Jackson, Kentucky, January 19, 1906. Quote, Noah Peters, who went to Central America several months ago to engage in the logging business, returned about 2 weeks ago, unquote. Now, at first we took this article at face value. Peters literally left the country for a business opportunity for a few months. But this also could have been a red herring so that the Hargis clan would not know where to find him. How do we know this? By the second article written about him just 2 weeks later. According to the article found in the Breathitt County News, Jackson, Kentucky, February 2, 1906. Quote, Uncle Noah Peters is hustling around now and making ready for another wild goose chase. He is going to Washington this time, he says, unquote. So, if we take this article at its face value, we get an interesting picture of what was going on in the life of Noah Peters. He was trying to lay low until the Hargis family no longer cared where he was. It is our opinion that Peters came back after a couple of months to basically take the temperature of the area before he took off again. But the author of the article gives us a clue that Peters might be saying that he was going somewhere, but not really showing up there. These articles lets us know that the Hargis faction was still looking for him for retaliation. And Peters knew it. And he felt that it would be very prudent for him to simply leave the area than be killed himself. We were unable to find any records of Noah J. Peters other than a man going by that name that was from Lawrence County, Kentucky, who died in Ohio in 1936 at the age of 83 years old. If this was indeed the same Noah Peters, then he never returned to Breathitt County. Thank you. We at Kentucky, Tennessee Living would like to thank you for watching our video series on the Appalachian feuds. Don't forget to hit that like button, as the more likes we receive, the more likely YouTube algorithm is to suggest our videos to other viewers. Also, to receive notice when we upload a new video, be sure to subscribe and click the bell notification button. We thank you for continuing to support Kentucky, Tennessee Living as we are discovering the mysteries in Appalachian history.